The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman chants at the crossroad. The wise woman rants at the crossroad. The wise woman plants at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman flows at the crossroad. The wise woman grows at the crossroad. The wise woman knows at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman lives at the crossroad. The wise woman gives at the crossroad. The wise woman forgives at the crossroad. She's at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman cries at the crossroad. The wise woman flies at the crossroad. The wise woman dies at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman bleeds at the crossroad. The wise woman needs at the crossroad. The wise woman feeds at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman hip hops at the crossroad. The wise woman flip flops at the crossroad. The wise woman don't stop at the crossroad. She's at the crossroad. She's at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman leads at the crossroad. The wise woman plants seeds at the crossroad. The wise woman proceeds at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman shakes hips at the crossroad. The wise woman does flips at the crossroad. The wise woman smacks lips at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman chants at the crossroad. The wise woman rants at the crossroad. The wise woman plants at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman flows at the crossroad. The wise woman grows at the crossroad. The wise woman knows at the crossroad. She's at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman lives at the crossroad. The wise woman gives at the crossroad. The wise woman forgives at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman drums at the crossroad. The wise woman hums at the crossroad. The wise woman comes at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman feels at the crossroad. The wise woman yields at the crossroad. The wise woman heals at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman cries at the crossroad. The wise woman flies at the crossroad. The wise woman dies at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman shakes hips at the crossroad. The wise woman does flips at the crossroad. The wise woman smacks lips at the crossroad. She's at the crossroad. The wise woman.
If two women
The wise woman
sit at a crossroads,
The wise woman
one on this side and one on the other side, and they face each other,
The wise woman
they are certainly
The wise woman
engaged
The wise woman
in witchcraft.
The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman shakes hips at the crossroad. The wise woman does flips at the crossroad. The wise woman smacks lips at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman chants at the crossroad. The wise woman rants at the crossroad. The wise woman plants at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman flows at the crossroad. The wise woman grows at the crossroad. The wise woman knows at the crossroad. The wise woman sits at the crossroad. The wise woman lives at the crossroad. The wise woman gives at the crossroad. The wise
Anu Ausi, Igul Nafshai the earth, wind, water, and fire. Lishma knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. May our souls circle higher and higher. Lishma, 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 L'Shem Al-Maya, Araya Ma L'Shamaya. I knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. We are the earth, wind, water, and fire. Lishma, Lishma, L'Shem Al-Maya, Haraya Ma L'Shamaya. I knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. May our souls circle higher and higher. Lishma, 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 L'Shem Al-Maya, Haraya Ma L'Shamaya. I knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. We are the earth, wind, water, and fire. Lishma, Lishma, L'Shem Al-Maya, Haraya Ma L'Shamaya. I knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. May our souls circle higher and higher. Lishma, 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 L'Shem Al-Maya, Haraya Ma L'Shamaya. I knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. We are the earth, wind, water, and fire. Lishma, Lishma, L'Shem Al-Maya, Haraya Ma L'Shamaya. I knew I'll see Igul Nafshaya. May our souls circle higher and higher. Shekhinah, 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 thank you for blessing this day. Shekhinah, thank you for blessing this day. Shekhinah, thank you for blessing all we do and all we say. Thank you for blessing this day. Shekhinah, thank you for blessing this day. Shekhinah, thank you for blessing this day. Shekhinah, thank you for blessing how we be and how we pray. Thank you for blessing this day. Shekhinah,
Chag Sameach.
My name is Ketzirah, and I'm very pleased to welcome you back to OneShul yet again tonight to celebrate the beginning of Sukkot, our harvest holiday, our memory of the journey out of Egypt, our invitation to our spiritual ancestors to dine with us for a week, and so many other things. Like every Jewish holiday, it is so layered and layered and layered and layered with meanings and traditions and practices that have built up over multiple millennia. Let's begin tonight by having our community introduce themselves to each other in our chat room. Please share who you are and where in the world you physically are. As if you've been with us before, you know we are a very global community. We usually have great representation from all over the United States and very often from multiple parts of the globe. So let's introduce ourselves, and while you're doing that, I will tell you a little bit about how tonight's going to work. So tonight is going to be a little bit different for me than I've done really ever. So instead of having a full service and with a siddur or a machzor for you all, tonight we're going to do a little bit of devotion, also known as prayer. We are going to do a bit of discussion, and then we will do a little bit of divination. So I hope that works for you all tonight to begin your Sukkot experience. Welcome, Rin. I just saw you pop in the chat room. And Chag Sameach to Matthew, to Eliana, to Tal, to Erica, to everybody else joining us, to guest 335, who has joined us, it looks like, from the lovely country of Canada in Victoria. So I'm guessing guest 335, you're in BC, right? So if you can, try to log in so we can at least see your name. If you choose Facebook, it'll show your photo like Rin or Matthew. If you log in as guest, we'll at least see your name like Eliana and Tal and Erica. So just helps so I'm not calling you guest 335 or 584 or 621. Whoever else is joining us tonight. So let us begin our devotional portion of our evening tonight, and we'll begin by lighting the candles as we do for so many holidays. And one of the reasons in Jewish practice, in most of Jewish traditions, the candle is the symbol of the human soul. And in other traditions where maybe they use bells or cast a circle or so many other ways to denote we are moving from regular time and space to sacred time and space. In Judaism, it's so amazing. All we have to do is light a little match and then light a little candle. And in doing that, we delineate between regular time and space and sacred time and space. So we'll begin with lighting our candles tonight. For those of you who know me, you know I'll be doing the prayers, the brachot in the feminine, the bracha in this case, it's just one, the bracha in the feminine. I invite and welcome you to do the prayers in masculine or gender neutral God language, whatever it is that is true and resonant for you. So let's light our candles. Baruch Shechina Eloteinu Ruach Haolam Asher Kidshatnu B'mitzvoteha V'tzivatnu Lahadlik Ner Shel Yom Tov. Blessed are you, Holy One. Your presence fills creation. making us holy through the sacred connective action of lighting the festival lights. Here are my lovely candles for tonight. Very excited. The woman I buy my candles from does special Sukkot themed candles in this beautiful multicolored red and gold beeswax. So, really was planning on doing mostly the discussion and divination tonight, but as we are in Erev Sukkot, we are entering a holiday. The sun is setting, at least here in Washington, D.C. in the United States. I did think it would be a lovely way to begin with at least a little bit of Ma'ariv Aravim. So I want to invite you into Ma'ariv Aravim with me. So, give me 1 second. All right, give me 1 second for that. Sorry about that. All right, we're going to get this started, and there's very little words that you need to know. It's very, very simple. We are going to do the same one, actually, that we did at High Holidays this year, because I want to bring up this beautiful image. So we're going to enter our Ma'ariva song together. There we go. Sorry about that. And you can sing along with me at home. And we're going to do the refrain, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv Aravim, amen. And that melody and that phrasing we're going to be using is by Rabbi Gila Razel Raphael. And then I'll be chanting in English most of the rest of the Ma'ariv prayer. So let's welcome in the evening together. And I do want to say Chag Sameach to Jadel, who is just joining us. All right, let's sing in the evening, shall we? Evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv Aravim, amen. Blessed are you, O Holy Swan, Spirit of the universe, who at your word brings on the evening twilight, with wisdom opens the gates of the heavens, and with understanding changes the times and varies the seasons, and arranges the stars in their watches in the sky, according to your ways. Evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv Aravim, amen. Created day and night, you roll away the light from before the darkness, and the darkness from before the light. You make the day to pass and the night to approach, and divide the day from the night. Evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv Aravim, amen. Many are your names, divine indwelling presence, living, enduring continually. May you reign over us forever and ever. Blessed are you, Holy One, who brings on the evening twilight. Evening, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Mahari Varavim. Amen. Let's do that refrain 2 more times. Evening, evening, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Mari Varavim. Amen. Evening, evening, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Mari Varavim. Amen. And now, so we can make sure our community is connected across time and space, across electricity and wires, why don't we do our Baruch Hu? And I'll ask you all to share in the chat room what name you wish to be known as in our sacred space tonight. What is the energy of abundance you are wishing to infuse into this harvest holiday of Sukkot? And I will paste the words in to the chat room for you, and we'll sing all of you into the space tonight. So please take a moment to think about what sacred name you wish to be known as in our space tonight. It may be your regular everyday name, but maybe there is a Hebrew name or a special name, or again, an energy that you want to really bring into this new season, this new holiday, this Chag with you, to really open up that space. So let's begin our Baruch Hu, and I hope you'll sing this at home with me too. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Tal Nachman, holy name. You have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Avehud, holy name. When you call on the light of your soul, welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Dalia, holy name. You have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Rin, holy name. You have called on the light of your soul. Welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Erica, holy name. You have called on the light of your soul. welcome home. And let's do this 3 times together with we have called on the light of our souls. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. We have called on the light of our souls. Welcome home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. We have called on the light of our souls. We've come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. We have called on the light of our souls. We've come home. Before we transition into our discussion portion tonight, let's do the Shema, especially because the Shema is the command to listen. So as we discuss, we can have ourselves listening, the Holy One listening, the Holy Ones, all of the energies, spirit beings, heavenly hosts, angels listening, and of course each other listening. So let's do the Shema, and again, as always, I will invite you to share in the chat room the name of the Holy One you will be praying your Shema tonight. Maybe it's Adonai, maybe it's Havaya, maybe it's Shekhinah, maybe it is Simsamai, maybe it is Eya Asher Ayeh. Whatever that name of the Holy One that you are praying tonight, I invite you to share that name in the chat room as we begin our Shema. And let's do the Shema 2 or 3 times, and then we'll go into the full Shema. Shema Yisrael, Simsemai Eloheinu, Simsemai Achat. Baruch Shem Kavod Holy Taya. And we were praying to Simsamai, to Shekhinah, to Hashem, and to El Shaddai, and I'm sure to many other names that are not being shared in the chat room tonight. And my body sort of goes right into V'ahavta, but we're going to V'ahavta tonight through our discussion, and the same with our Amidah. We're going to embody all those parts of the service through a discussion of Sukkot and talking about the many layers and elements of this holy day, this Chag, this pilgrimage festival, and see how it is we choose to celebrate this holiday, how each of us here celebrate it, what the key themes that resonate for us are what's important to us, and what is it that we get out of this Chag. And Chag Sameach, good to see you, Isaac. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Not a problem being late at all. There's no Siddur tonight. And so fantastic. And Jadel, I don't know if the Refuah Shalema is for this. This is just the carpal tunnel. I have been working on my home computer a lot lately, and it's not as ergonomic as my old setup. So, yes, this is to keep the hand from just falling apart on me. So let's talk about Sukkot, right? So let's start. I want to start, and we're going to start somewhere a little bit different for me. We are going to start with the Orthodox, right? Not where you quite, I think, where you expect me to go. But I think it's an interesting place to start tonight. And I wanna start a little bit with sort of an Orthodox approach to Sukkot, and especially the Ushpizin and the Ushpizot. So, and how many of you in the chat room right now are familiar? All right, who am I kidding? We're going to start with the really awesome stuff as far as I'm concerned. We are going to start with the Ushpizin and the Ushpizot, right? Let's explain what those are, and the Ushpizata, depending on who you're asking. But I'm going to go to the Orthodox first for this, not that I am in any way Orthodox. Okay, Sukkot, right? Sukkot is the harvest holiday. It is also the holiday that the Torah tells us is in commemoration of our ancestors fleeing from Egypt and the temporary shelters and structures that they housed in during their treks through the desert. In the temple, it was also the holiday of the libations. So it was a water libation, which was an amazing piece. And apparently, according to ancient sources, the water libation festival was one of the highlights of the ceremonies in the ancient temple. And yes, Rev Jadel, the guests alive or in spirit is the Ushpizin and Ushpizot. And then during the Kabbalistic time primarily, during that early era, this idea of inviting, and personally, I think it's much more ancient than that. But the idea of inviting our ancestors into the sukkah is also a part of it. And the Kabbalists of Safed, of Svat and Safed, they associated specific avot, the fathers, to it. And in subsequent eras, the imahot, the mothers, have also been associated. But I find it fascinating that our harvest holiday, where we welcome in our spiritual ancestors, generally falls somewhere around Halloween, Samhain, and Day of the Dead. Sukkot's a little early this year. We're going into a leap year that'll reset and push things back out a little bit. It's very often the very end of October, right? So we have an interesting thing going on where we have this incredibly primal holiday where we sit outside in booths. We shake a wand, a lulav and an etrog, right, in the 4 directions. We invite our spiritual ancestors to dine with us as we are in our sukkah each night, each day. So there's so many layers and layers and layers of power to this holiday. So let me start with the first question, right? Beyond, do you know what the Ushpizin are and Ushpizot? But I'm curious from you all, what parts of this holiday are important to you? What parts of this holiday are resonant for you? What are the parts that you just can't live without, or you're learning to explore, or resonate in the back of your mind from your childhoods and Hebrew school? And I'm just looking up a couple of things I want to share. while I'm letting you all explain that. All right, so we'll move into a couple of things here. I want to, let's see, where do we want to go? Oh, that's what I was looking for, is over here. Okay, so according to, in this case, the OU, not my go-to, but interesting in this case, the Orthodox Union. So Sukkot commemorates the wilderness experience, which in Sefer Vayikra, the Torah describes the commandment to dwell in Sukkot, sukkahs, plural, in the celebration of Sukkot. And the Torah explains that we are required to perform this commandment, this mitzvah, as a commemoration of the sojourn of our ancestors in the wilderness following their rescue from Egypt. And that the Sukkot in which we dwell, in which we live during the celebration, recall the booths that our ancestors dwelled in during their travels. And there's, of course, because we're Jewish, there is a debate between the sages about the meaning of the reference to the Sukkot of our ancestors. I love quoting the ancient rabbis. I love the names. According to Rabbi Eliezer, the Sukkot of our ancestors were the cloud that accompanied and protected our ancestors in the wilderness. According to Rabbi Akiva, our ancestors fashioned for themselves shelters similar to our Sukkot, and these protected them from the elements in the wilderness environment. And there was no official resolution. It's amazing. It is also a harvest holiday. The water holiday I mentioned, and one other thing with the sukkah in particular that I found interesting recently, I was reading Savina Tubal's Sarah the Priestess, which was actually a text during my Kohenet training, but it was it was not a required text. I read pretty much everything. I read everything required and most of the optional texts. For some reason, though, I never read this one. And one of the things I thought was very, very interesting is what Ms. Tubal did was she associated the sukkah with the granaries, with the huts that the ancient priestesses would have guarded and worked out of as sort of a representation of the divine feminine in the land. So I thought that was very interesting too. And that's fantastic to know that, Rin, that you've never really celebrated Sukkot. That's really fine. And that for Matt, this is your first Sukkot as well. You know, it's one of those holidays that really resonated with me, and especially with my earth-based practices, but I never could quite get to a celebration of it as an adult. And I built my first sukkah outside at my house maybe 7 or 8 years ago now. The simplest thing ever, and it was amazing. I love my sukkah. And it's so simplistic. I built it out of 2 little garden trellises, and then landscaping burlap. And I have to tell you, landscaping burlap makes a pretty sukkah. And then over the top, I cut branches from the trees in my yard and around it, a few from my pomegranate tree, a couple from my scary, super pointy, thorny tree, and some of the others. And in the mornings, I'll go outside and I'll do shacharit, I'll do morning prayers, and I made sure that the opening to my sukkah faces east-ish, so I can watch the sunrise during morning prayers. And then my husband surprised me that first year that we did this, and I came home to him grilling outside and having a table set so we could have dinner in the sukkah as well. Or in my case, in front of the sukkah, because my sukkah is so tiny, there's no way 2 people can sit in it and eat. So even if you don't have a private yard, there's all kinds of ways to connect. So you could do something in a window box. And I know the Orthodox, it's 3 sides, hard, official sides, 1 open. You have to be able to see the rain through and the stars, all very good. But many of us live in apartments or don't have a private yard like Ren. So think about other ways. Can you go outside at night for a little walk? Can you open your windows and sit closer to a window? Can you make a tiny little tent that is symbolic in your house? It's such a symbolic holiday. So what if it's a tiny little one that you can make in a little, maybe palm-sized garden? You make a little diorama for yourself to put yourself into. So I'm curious, so Rin, Matt, anyone else, whether it's your first Sukkot or your probably not your 500th, your 50th Sukkot, more realistic, what is resonating for you? Is it the ancestors? Is it the harvest? Is it the pilgrimage in the wilderness? What aspects of this holiday are resonant for you? Is it the 4 species? Is it the water libations? What part of this is resonant for you? And while you all are thinking about that and answering that, I'm going to post something in the chat room for you. This is a Jewish year fall holidays. Okay, so fall holidays. This is a great book that is just a very balanced, kind of middle of the road view of the fall holidays. It is a great thing. I have it right here, actually. That really just talks about it. So especially for those of you who are celebrating for the first time, it's just a really great text to get a really good sense of the holiday. All right, so let's take a second. We're going to talk about the 4 species, the lulav, the etrog. And I want to talk about not necessarily the symbolism of each of the 4 things that are in there, but the symbolism of 4, because it's such a huge number in Jewish tradition. So you have your lulav and your etrog, your 3 leafy plants, and then your etrog that goes with it. And you wave it, those 4 things, in 4 directions, right? This is what we're doing. And actually it's 6 directions, right? So it is the 4 main directions, up and down. So you're doing 6 directions, really. And 4 is interesting. It's the letter Dalet, right? So Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. And the number 4, you have the 4 matriarchs, the generally accepted 4 matriarchs, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. You could also say you have 6 in this case. If we're doing the lulav in all 6 directions, you could then add Bilha and Zilpa in, right? So that's kind of amazing. Up and down, maybe, for Bilha and Zilpa. It's also the doorway. The letter Dalet is a doorway into a new time, a new place, a new era. So there's all kinds of things with the 4 that you can play with as well. There's the 4 levels of interpreting Torah. So Pardes, right? So you have Peshat, Darash, Remez, and Sod. So you have the Peshat, which is like the simple, like reasonably literal interpretation. You have Drash, which is explained. You'll hear about people giving a drash of a Torah reading. You have Remez, which is the hint, which is like that next layer of like what's really coming through here, maybe. And then finally, this Sod, the secret layer. So that is the mystical layer where you're really sort of getting into that white fire of the Torah. So, and there's so many things. There's the 4 worlds. There's the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton. There's lots and lots of things of the 4s. So, if you actually have a lulav and etrog, or you're just sort of playing with these ideas over the next few days of this holiday, think about also not just the meaning of each piece of the lulav and etrog, but also 4. And what does that mean? Especially we have a 4-sided booth. We don't have a round, traditionally at least, a round like teepee or yurt for a sukkah. You have a 4-sided sukkah. And then you have your 4 elements of your lulav and etrog. And so Tal, right? Ancestors, the water, and the harvest. So the water libation, they would use the water libations, the pouring of the water, to help bring the rains and the rainy season in ancient Israel. And back when I had a dedicated circle sacred space in my yard, when I was leading the interfaith community at Sukkot, one of the things I would do is I would wash the outside altar off at Sukkot as a way of cleansing, and also bringing in the winter, in my case, snows and rains, but the snows and rains to help replenish the rivers. Because if we don't get enough snow, we don't get enough water at the sources, and then the rivers get dry. So try to use that as well. And of course, the ancestor aspect. I love that. I love inviting the spiritual beings into my sukkah to pray with me, to be in that space, to connect with them. I find that to be fascinating. So I want to share with you a couple of great new resources for the Ushpizin and Ushpizot. Yeah, and Tal, we'll get to, the Geshem prayer. Sure, we'll get to that. Yeah. So, all right. This is a great resource from Reb David Seidenberg, who is known as the neochassid.org, that also has these fantastic visuals. That's my husband coming home. And has really beautiful calligraphy visuals by Noam Sienna, who's just fantastic Jewish calligrapher and henna artist. And he has taken the Ushpizin and Ushpizot. Sorry, my husband's like giving me a gift. I don't know what I've got here. Ooh, dates!
Fresh dates from California by Rania.
Fresh dates from California from our friend Rania. Thanks, Rania. How awesome is that for the harvest holiday? So, the Ushpizin and Ushpizot, there's a really beautiful set of prayers and rituals, very based in Kabbalistic practice on the Chassid website, that link I just posted, and then beautiful sukkah decorations from Noam that you can download and print out, and they're really beautiful. And Reb David, who's fantastic, has very specific rationales for why, especially the Ushpizot, or in his case, he says Ushpizata, which, since Ushpizin is really based in Aramaic, that's probably Ushpizata is actually the technical conjugation in feminine plural. So yeah, let's talk about the Geshem prayer, right? This is the time of year when in the Amidah, we switch. So if you were in Israel, or some of us, I do it anyway, but generally in Israel, in the Amidah, we would have been praying for the dew that rises with the dawn, right? So it's the hot summer, it's not the rainy season. You're praying that just some dew rises. This is the time of year where we switch in just a few days from that to he who makes the winds to blow and the rains to fall. You pray, you pray that the Prince of Rain, Afri, will bring rain. Right? So that is something we begin to pray every day during the Amidah. And here I'm going to send you a nice little reference for the whole thing about this. And there's bigger prayers around it too, but it's the beginning of doing this prayer every day where we pray for rain, which is fantastic. And by the way, those English translations are my versions. They're what I use. As usual, not the necessarily the literal translation, but the ones that are relevant for me. And within the sort of my understanding and theology of the Holy One. And there are also beautiful and lovely melodies around this too. So I'm going to post for you another, wow. You post something from Wikipedia and it goes crazy. Welcome, Kaylin. Good to have you joining us. Chag Sameach. So quite a few lovely elements with the rain. So another aspect of this holiday that you can incorporate and engage with. And Tal, do you have a specific one you're thinking of, you say, written by the rabbi that also wrote the Tal prayer for Pesach. So I'm assuming my assumption is the standard one that I'm aware of. But I'm curious if you're thinking of another one.
Millennia.
And I want to share one more for you from somebody I love, which is Rabbi Rachel, known as the Velveteen Rabbi. And she is this amazing poet and does beautiful, beautiful interpretations. And this is her prayer poem of the prayer for rain. And we begin that on Shmini Atzaret. So you can read that there and listen to her read it as well. And it's I'm going to read this for you. It's quite beautiful. Millennia ago, the earth was washed in water. Connections sparked unimaginable across the water. The life we know begins cradled in water. Each human emerges in a flood of water. From ancient times, we've prayed to God for water. Not too much, not too little, just enough water. This year, the landscape I first knew lacked water. Grasslands parched, thirsting for drops of water. This year, the hills where I live ran with water, seeping through roofs, swelling doors shut with water. To mark holy times, we immerse ourselves in water, washing away our old hurts in water. In the city of gold, rooftop tanks collect water. Those who have and those who lack fight over water. In the beginning, presence hovered over water, mysterious and unknowable like deep water. The bodies we inhabit are made of water. Our veins and our tissues stay functional through water. We couldn't stand and offer praise without water. Source of all, be kind to us. Send water. That is a beautiful, beautiful poem by Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt, also known as the Velveteen Rabbi, and you can find her website at velveteenrabbi.blogs.com. So I want to open this up again for a second before we move into the divination section to see if there were any other aspects or elements of Sukkot that people wanted to share, to talk about, to discuss, to ask questions about. I'll take a little sip while you're thinking about that. And one other thing I'll mention that is unique to this year, while I'm waiting to see if there's any additional discussion, is tonight we have a lunar eclipse that most of the United States should be seeing, and I think a good portion of the world actually is going to be seeing it. It is also the harvest moon. It is a blood moon, and it is also a super moon. So there is a lot of full moon energy and Sukkot energy to soak up. And my plan, actually, when we finish tonight, is I've been asked by a friend, a teacher, to retie her tzitzit on one of her talit. And she gave it to me a couple of months ago when I saw her and said, you know, this is what you do. You're an amulet maker. You are a fiber worker. You're, a weaver of worlds. Would you please, I need my tzitzit replaced. Would you do this for me? And I said, oh, wow. Okay. Wow. And I've had her talit sitting there now for a couple of months. I've been playing with tzitzit. I just tied tzitzit onto an old sweater of mine that I wear around the house and out and about occasionally now. It's got 4 really distinct corners. So my plan tonight is to go outside in my yard and sit and look up at the moon as it goes into eclipse and tie her tzitzit. Pull in all of that amazing, juicy, crazy energy from a full blood harvest, super Sukkot moon eclipse. So, Matt, did you have a specific question? Just want to make sure. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think that's sort of an amazing, and keep in mind, so especially for those of you, for all of us, I think this year with the lunar eclipse and the supermoon and everything else, it's a great reminder of the moon and its relationship to our holidays, our holy days, right? So Rosh Hashanah is actually a Rosh Chodesh, right? So it is on just the first crescent moon, just after the dark moon. And Yom Kippur, interestingly, since we deny ourselves on it, is on a waxing, a growing moon. And then Sukkot is on a full moon, right? So you know it's the 15th of the month. It's on a full moon. So you can watch how they work in the wheel of the year and the cycle of the moon, and also think about what does that mean to you that our harvest holiday falls on a full moon. Ooh, interesting. Okay, is there any specific historical references to conjunction of eclipse and Sukkot? So I was trying to look that up a little bit earlier because I was interested, and I figured other people would be interested as well. So as a general, often a solar eclipse is considered to be a bad omen. And ooh, here we go. This is a crazy website. I don't like that one. And I was trying to look up a couple of the people that I know who do really great Jewish astrology. They're just fantastic Jewish astrologers. One thing to keep in mind for tonight is a special blessing for natural phenomena. So you can look up those bracha and see that bracha and see about saying that. And I wasn't finding anything specific that I thought was really interesting to share. Most of the information I'm finding is sort of not stuff that I'll do some pretty out there stuff, but it was just not things I would even be interested in sharing. There is an article in JTA about it. 4 blood moons, something is about to change. So there are some who are saying that because both Passover and Sukkot, there's lunar eclipses, that something really big is going to happen. It kind of depends on your feeling on all of that as well. So I do think that the energy of the lunar eclipses is certainly something to think about, and something to, if that's the type of thing you work with, might as well work with it. Same with the blood moon. What does it mean to you? Which I think is more important than really anything else in this space, right? When you're looking at these type of things, is what does that really mean to you? And especially this is the year we're coming out of the Shemitah, right? The land was resting fallow as our harvest out of the Shemitah year officially. And many, many people I knew were really engaging with that idea of letting the land rest. And now we have a blood moon for our first harvest moon after the Shemitah. So I just think it's interesting, and we can think about where we go with there. And yeah, Rin, I'm definitely with you. I think it's a great time to work with and pray for creative projects, things you're trying to manifest, to harvest in the world. Right, let me go back. I want to see some of the things that are being shared here, which are really, really great. So right, the desert was a mixed multitude. Harvest time and market was for all the people of the land. Hence, we are often taught that the high holy days and festival for all peoples. I'm doing a little bit of outreach. Great, yes, Jadel, great idea. All right, I want to share this other piece that Jadel is sharing from Rambam. So Rambam taught that we need to understand the natural laws and facts of the world in order to understand the Torah, not magic, superstition, etc. Okay, except some other teachers love the idea of keeping the mysticism in there. I'm a huge fan of science and mysticism together. I find the more we learn in science, the more it actually teaches us about the mystical spiritual world as well. So you can take that however you like. So speaking of the mystical world, I want to bring us around to the divination portion of our evening and see if on this Sukkot, on this harvest moon, on this blood moon, on this super moon, on this lunar eclipse, if anyone would like a mitzvah card reading. So I will start shuffling and see if anybody in the chat room would like to raise their hands. Oh, Matt, great find, by the way. That's a really great one. Well, in Jadel, we're going to agree to disagree a little bit here. I am a believer in mysticism, and I work both within science and mystical practices. And this is a pluralistic community, so everyone can hold their own beliefs around all of that. All right, Rin, you are up first. So, Miss Rin, I am shuffling for you. Please let me know when to stop. All right, Jadel, I'm going to ask to end that part of the conversation, okay? We're doing the readings now, so, and I'm waiting for focusing on Rin and letting her tell me when to stop shuffling for her. Or I'm going to stop in a second. Thank you, Rin. All right. Oh, I'm stopping. You said stop. I didn't stop. Okay. All right. Rin, your card is Kol Yisrael Aravim Ze Lazeh. Count and be counted and accountable. Show up for others and appreciate those who show up for you in order to ensure supportive communities of prayer and care. Leviticus 26:37. Talmud Shvuot 39a. So this is such an interesting one. I think one, because you show up and are counted here. And I think it is an invitation to you to explore your community and where it is that all that's needed is for your presence to help it grow and to be, and where your presence is huge and important just by showing up. So that is Leviticus 26:37. And Talmud Shvuot 39a. All right, and again, we're moving on to the divination portion of our evening. So, and I'm going to move to Erica next. Erica, let me know when to stop shuffling for you. All right, Erica, I am shuffling for you. Great. All right, perfect. Ooh, with our discussion about water, yours is mikvah, immerse and clear. Transition spiritually into marriage, covenant, holy days, healing, and monthly renewal through the mitzvah of tahara, reflective immersion in the living waters of a river, ocean, lake, or dedicated mikvah facility. Leviticus 15:13. All right, you, Miss Erica, clearly have an invitation to play with water and sacred bathing during this month that is time that is opening up right now, and your relationship with water and bathing and spiritual bathing. So maybe it is visiting an actual mikvah, maybe it is something around the water libation practice, maybe it's taking on saying the bracha when you wash your hands, but definitely an invitation into explorations of water and sacred bathing. So again, it's Leviticus 15:13, mikvah. All right, Ms. Kaylin, you are next. Let me know when to stop shuffling. All right, Kaylin. Yours is, Pidyon Shavuim, free captives. Advocate, donate, and strive to liberate those immorally held in slavery or imprisoned by governments, captors, or unhealthy relationships. Deuteronomy 15:7. So, your invitation in Sukkot is to explore how you can help free others from slavery. So maybe it is something you do for around spiritual slavery, maybe it is donations to groups trying to stop human trafficking, whatever it is, but to think about your relationship with the world around you. Maybe it's simply looking at clothing you buy and whether or not it's made in a sweatshop. So think about that and ways that you maybe are held captive or others are held captive, and how you can help to free those people. Deuteronomy 15:7. For guest 428 and possibly Jadel, who are unclear on this portion of our evening. So tonight we're doing sort of a mix of prayer, discussion, and divination. So we began with our prayer, and then we had a discussion around Sukkot, and now we are finishing up our evening together, welcoming in Sukkot with mitzvah card readings. And these are these lovely cards that have each of them one of the mitzvot on them. And I shuffle for somebody, I pull one, I read what's on there, and then also whatever else comes to mind for me. All right, so that was for, let's see, we did Erica, we did, I think we are on Tal. Yes, that was Kaylin, so we are on Tal. All right, Tal, we are on you. I'm going to shuffle. Let me know when to stop. Oh, and I will say, okay, Jadel. Yes, on a card. Okay. All right, Tal, I am shuffling for, oh, that was a quick stop. Okay. Kavod Hamet Nichum Avelim. Be a holy friend. Help an ascending soul and its family through watching over the body with your presence and prayers, and accompanying the body to the grave. Consider being a Chevra Kadisha volunteer, doing traditional preparation of the body, visit the house of mourning for prayers and listening to give the essential message you are loved and not alone. Genesis 25:11, Deuteronomy 34:6. You know, whenever this one comes up, I definitely like to make sure I open the invitation around it that it may or may not be about actually engaging with a Chevra Kadisha, but to think about those in the world that are lonely or alone, that you can help to feel less lonely and alone. If you feel called to engage in end-of-life practices of the Chevra Kadisha, it's an amazing experience, the training, understanding, and going through it. It is certainly an incredible mitzvah, and you are doing an incredible service to the community by doing this. But beyond that, it's also an incredible experience for you. But even if it isn't, maybe in this case you check the yahrzeit wall here at OneShul and you add those people to your prayers and say Kaddish for them, or say Kaddish for those who have no one to pray for them, or those being killed in war and violence or racial violence right now. So whoever it is that you can help to spiritually transition and know that they are not alone. And again, that's Genesis 25:11 and Deuteronomy 34:6. Agreed, Jadel. Sitting with the deceased or sitting with hospital patients, working in hospice, donating to hospice, whatever it is you can do in that space. All right, let's see. If I skip you, just let me know, okay? Isaac, I think you are next. So I'm shuffling for you, Isaac. Stop. All right. V'halach. Try that one again. V'halachta b'derachav. Walk the talk. Engage each aspect of human nature, your own and others, in ways that make you a source of blessing. Deuteronomy 26:17. Whew. I think sometimes this one is harder than things like, hey, your job is to join a Chevra Kadisha now. Definitely think about the ways that in each and every moment of your life and with each and every person you engage with, you can be a source of blessing. Maybe it's learning a few new bracha. So when you're driving and getting road ragey, not that I know that you do that, not that I would ever do that, you say a blessing for that person instead of cursing them out. When you meet people on the subway, when you see somebody lost on the street, whatever it is that you can do to bring out the best in your human nature and bring out the best in their human nature. And become a fountain for the source of blessing and a direct source of blessing for all those that you encounter. So definitely an invitation to you to smile at everyone, smile at a stranger. Carefully so you're not creepy, but you know, the nice smiling that you can do. Somebody drops something, pick it up. There's all kinds of super simple things in this one, I think, that can really help to engage at the human to human heart level and make you a source of blessing in the world. So that is Deuteronomy 26:17. All right, let's see. All right, Eliana, we are shuffling for you. I am shuffling. See, we as in like we collectively, but I am technically shuffling. Eliana, I am shuffling for you. All right, we are shuffling for Eliana, and I'm stopping. All right. Ooh, tefillah. Find the prayer of your heart. Empty yourself of stress and refill with healing and connection through prayer, which incorporates the arousing of love, awe, and awareness with the expression of gratitude and yearning. Genesis 24:63, 1 Samuel 1:12. Wow, this is beautiful. I love this description of prayer. Empty yourself of stress and refill with healing and connection through prayer, which incorporates the arousing of love, awe, and awareness with expression of gratitude and yearning. What an amazing invitation to explore what prayer means to you. So maybe it is verbal prayer and you're engaging in some new verbal prayer practices. Maybe you're trying some new chant practices, some sound practices, drum prayer practices. Maybe you are exploring embodied prayer, things like sweating your prayers and dance prayer, and movement is prayer. Or as my friend and teacher Holy Taya says, right pace as prayer. Maybe it is as simple as walking and moving and speaking and being at the pace that is right and natural for you instead of the one that the world and others seem to set for us sometimes. So your invitation at this amazing Sukkot supermoon is to find the prayer of your heart. Yeah. Genesis 24:63, 1 Samuel 1:12. Okay. Jadel, we are on to you. So I'm shuffling for you now. Let me know when to stop. Okay. Zedek Tirdof. Pursue justice. Work relentlessly for all and for each to live in dignity and with equal opportunity for safety, food, education, healthcare, religion, culture, and more. Deuteronomy 16:20. So we can take this at all the levels, but I think first and foremost is to think about what it is you can do to use the energy of this supermoon, this Sukkot, this harvest season, this coming of the rains, to bring justice and equality into the world, whether it is actions in your own life, whether it is donating, access to all, whatever it is that you can do, however this moves you. I'm betting this is you're coming up with your own ideas definitely about what this means, donating to food kitchens, whatever it might be. But beyond the living your life every day, seeing how it is you can help others to live in dignity and with equal opportunity for safety, food, education, healthcare, religion, culture, and insert all of your own topics after that. Deuteronomy 16:20. I think that is the end of our cards tonight. If you did not get a mitzvah card reading and you would like one, please feel free to reach out to me offline. Always happy to do them. And let us bring our service to a close tonight with a chant. I want to see if there's anyone in the chat room who has something specific they'd like to close out, like me to close us out with tonight. If not, I will pick a chant and close us out with something. And while we're thinking about what our closing chants are, I do want to thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being a part of OneShul. As always, remind you that if you can donate, that would be amazing. It helps keep the stream streaming, the lights on. It helps us do more and more for you all. So we can really be there and take care of your spiritual needs here online. I will be back with you on Friday, October 9th for Kabbalat Shabbat. And that's my first Shabbat service in quite some time. So... And it says on the thing that there'll be mitzvah card readings. I don't usually do them on Shabbat, so probably no mitzvah card readings on Shabbat. But I'll be back with you on Friday, October 9th. I also want to let you know if you have any interest in leading a service, a discussion, a class here at OneShul, just reach out to Patrick at punktorah.org and let him know. So he will be able to connect you and help you do this. And yeah, okay, that's a great choice, Rin. So let me, we'll do at least part of I Remember tonight. That's great. And we can close out with that. So guest 428, I'm not sure, sort of seeing what the question is. Are you not seeing the video? We are closing out in a moment. So for our final chant, we can move into I Remember. I'll start you off on that. And then, let me see. Oh, great. I do have this in here. It's good. So then I can transition over to Shoshana Jedwab singing on her own at the end. So beautiful. All right. Sorry, just trying to help out guest 428. All right, so let's sing I Remember, and then I will definitely turn the singing over to Shoshana Jedwab. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I feel terrible for guest 428 who has not been seeing this tonight. Thank you, Rin, for helping there. and guiding us through the service tonight and helping with the service tonight. So thank you all so much. I'll see you back here soon, and we'll be doing Kabbalat Shabbat. Have a wonderful Sukkot. I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember you. How you walked with me, walked with me, walked with me. How you walked with me when you were young and free. How you walked with me, walked with me, walked with me. How you walked with me, you were young and free. I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember you. How you walked with me, walked with me, walked with me. How you walked with me through the sand and sea.
So I can say she a rare bird, she sing a sweet song. She lives where words work like a magic wand. She took a vow with silence to see if she could find it. The power behind it, the hour is timeless, where spirit meets science. The wind speaks soft as